Okay, so yesterday we had started React. So can you please revise what is React? Like what is React?
React, React is a library
Yes, library of what?
for HTML, JavaScript.
Yes, good. Library of JavaScript that we use to make single page applications like you make front end in React. Okay, so I want to open my yesterday's project. So how we're gonna do that? We'll just open the VS Code. Okay, I'm not creating a new project, I'm just opening what we did yesterday. So at the moment it has this folder opened up, so I'm going to say file, open recent, because I have recently opened that folder. So it was called what was it called? Yeah, React Start. So yeah, this is what we did yesterday. And how do I run it? Like how do I see the output of this React folder, React project? How do
Control
I open it?
J.
Do I press and go live?
No, you're gonna press Control J.
Okay, control J. Yeah, it's gonna open up the terminal, and inside the terminal what are we going to say? What are we going to write so that it basically
Uh,
opens up in the
NPM.
npm? Okay, and then npm and then run. Yeah, and lastly we use npm run and then
The
dev. Yeah, so basically this dev is coming from where? If you were to go into package.json, in the script section you would see this dev. It calls your uh, wheat thing, wheat technology. Basically it tells it to run this wheat project. Okay, so yeah, now it's running on this address, so I'm gonna press control click. It's gonna open up this folder. Okay, so yesterday we talked about some things about components. I think we discussed like three things about the components. What was the first thing we discussed about the components?
Mm, The function name should be the capital,
Very good. The
starting
first
with
letter of the
capital.
function should be capital. Good. What is the second thing? Components
the response.
always,
They always
very good, they
returns
always
back.
return something. Yeah. And what was the third thing? What was the third thing? Whenever you want to call the components, you call them inside the tags. Okay, they always are being called in a tag. Okay, so now let's move on to further things that we need to remember about the components. Okay, so for the components, after the return statement you can write your HTML. Okay, after the return statements you can write your HTML, and before the return statement you have your JavaScript. So basically, just as discussed yesterday, they are basically a mixture of HTML and JavaScript, this React. Okay, so after the return statements or below the return statement it starts your HTML, and before the return statements you have your JavaScript. Like everything before this return is JavaScript, and everything that is after this return up until these curly braces you have HTML. So if I have HTML after the return statement, so can I write this thing in h1, like in a heading? Can I do that? Can I write this in
Yeah.
h1? Yeah, we can do it.
Yes.
Why? Because after the return statement we have our HTML. So how do I do it? I'm going to remove this one, and I can simply say, let me disable this first. Okay, so I can say h1, and then this is salam from React, and then we can do the atom sign, and yeah, that's it. Let me save it, and here you go. Okay, this is the fourth thing you need to remember. that after the return statement you have your HTML, like you can write HTML after the return statement, and before the return statement you can write JavaScript. Let me show you. So if I were to say, let's say console.log, is console log in JavaScript or React? Oh, sorry, in JavaScript or HTML? JavaScript. So before the return statement I can write my JavaScript. Let's say I'm gonna say salam from JSI. If I were to open my console, I would have this salam from JSI. So before the return statement we have a JavaScript, and after the return statement we have a h1. Okay, so this is the fourth thing you need to remember, that after the return statement HTML, before the return statement JavaScript. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to write a paragraph beside this or under this h1 as well. How do I do it? Before the return or after the return? After the return. So where exactly? Because we already have an h1 after the return. Yeah, after the h1. So I'm going to say p. Let's say this is so this red line is indicating that something is wrong, and let's see what's wrong. If I were to hover upon this line, what does it say? Read the error, you'll know the you know what it's saying. Yes, this is the fifth thing we need to remember about React. React always returns only one thing. Okay, you can only return one thing, you cannot return multiple things. At the moment, how many things are we returning from this greetings component? Two things, yeah, h1 and p. But JSX says, JSX is the syntax of React and JavaScript and HTML, the mixture. Okay, so JSX says that you can only return one thing, but what I want to do is I want to return both of them. Like I want to see h1 and I want to see paragraph as well. So how do I do it? Guess how would I do it? Sorry, how can we do? We cannot. You can only use return once. You need to remember one thing. You can always return one thing only. Okay, that is the main point. You can always return one thing, but I want to do what? I want to return h1 and p as well. So how can I do it? No, because this is HTML, not JavaScript, so we can't. So what can we do? Look, JSX says that you can return only one thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return a div. Okay, now inside this div I'll have my h1, and then I'll have my p as well. How many things am I returning? One. I'm just returning this div. Inside this div we can have what, how many other thing, how many things you want. Like you can have how much you want. So basically you can have 2 or 200 or 2000, it doesn't matter, because eventually you are returning only one thing, and that is the div. Now you might have noticed that we have this curly braces appear up when I save the document. This is because of prettier, and this is, it has one more thing as well. It has one more logic as well. So for example, if I were to remove this, wait, let's see if we get the output or not. Yeah, we get the output. So if I were to remove these brackets, okay, if you were to remove these brackets, so you wouldn't see the output. Okay, if you want to get to the next line after the return statement, you have to do what? You have to put parentheses. This way you can have your div element or your the thing you're returning on the next line in order to have your formatting properly. So what is this div for? It serves as a parent. Okay, because JSX says you can return only one thing. And what are these brackets for? What are these brackets for? So we can, no, it's not a function. So we can get to the next line. So we can write a statement on the next line. So these are brackets. These brackets are for this. Okay, so that's it. Save it, and you would see you have multiple elements. Any questions about it? Any questions about this fourth and fifth thing? Okay, great. So now let me tell you something about the components. ChatGPT is being built on React. You can see this icon. I'll tell you about this one. It turns blue, whereas when we get to our website, it turns red. It means that this website we are building is in the development mode. And if you were to go on the ChatGPT, it's gonna say it turns blue because it's in the production mode, like it's being built. Okay, and we are currently being building it. Okay, so let me open it up so I can tell you about the components. Okay, this is called, what you see here is, it's called componentry. And how many components do you see? Like, take a guess, how many components are there? Exactly, there are literally thousands of components. Okay, and this is exactly what you are going to be experiencing once you learn React and once you start building websites in React. So why did I tell you about that? So basically, for example, you've seen we have a lot of components when it comes to building websites with React. So we have, let's say, around 500 components. Okay, let's say we have 500 components. Do we need parent for each component to serve as a parent, so we can have multiple items that can be rendered like h1 or paragraph or or images? So we would need to have one div element that is going to serve as a parent for each component. Yes? Yes or no? Okay. So if I were to have 500 components, okay, let's say we have 500 components in our website. So how many divs are we going to make that serves as a parent? One. Like each component need to have a parent. Like each, so 500. So we would have 500 extra divs that don't have anything to do with the code. They are just serving as a parent. Okay, they are not related to the design, they're not related to the structure, they're just there for the design. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, you can, but that kills the purpose of React. React says that you can build your website in different components. Okay, why do you do that? So that you can reuse them again and again. Okay, so if you were to write all of it in one go, like in one div, you won't be able to use it again and again. Okay, also if you were to break your website into different components, your website would become fast, like only this separate part of the component is being rendered. It's not being rendered the whole website. Okay, so if we had 500 components, we would have how many divs that serves as a parent? 500 divs. So when you have div basically takes some space, like it has around 1 pixel or 2 pixels of space. So how many pixels of space we would have for 500 divs? We would have an extra of around 500 to 1000 pixels of space, and that doesn't concern our styling. Like it's not related to the styling. In fact, it's going to ruin your styling, like it's going to create a bug in your styling. Why is that? Because divs take some space. So for each component you are going to have a div that is going to serve as a parent, but it's going to ruin your styling, it's going to create problems in your styling. So that's why you should never use divs as a parent. So what are we going to use? We are going to use something that's called empty fragments. Okay, wait, before that let me tell you this. Let's go back to our website, and inside the root div, because we are rendering everything in the root, can you see we have what? We have a div. So if we were to have 500 components, how many divs are you going to see here? How many divs would you see if we were to have 500 components? 500 exactly. That serves only as a parent, that doesn't concern the styling, just as a parent. So if we were to open it, you would see your h1 and p. So we don't want to have this div, as it's going to mess up our styling. So what are we going to do? But we do need a parent. Okay, So what are we going to do? We are going to use react fragments or empty fragments. Now what are they? They are just there. What are you going to do? You're just going to remove this div. Like you are going to just have empty opening and closing tags. These are called empty fragments. Okay, and what is their purpose? Their purpose is just to serve as a parent. Okay, that's it. If I were to go back to the website, do you see any div now? You just have an h1 and you have a p, and that's it. Okay, so how is this going to help us? It's not going to mess up with our styling. Is empty fragments clear? Okay, great. So now, as I said, that in our website we have a lot of components. Now I want to do the same thing. I want to create a new component. How do I do it? How do I do it? I want to create a new component. It's not going to create a new component. This empty fragment is just for the parent. Like it's just for this component only. Okay, so how do we create a new component? We're just going to do what? After the good. After the greeting tags, and then very good. We are going to make a new component, and then that's a component name. I'm going to say second component. Very good. S should be capital because this is a component. So let's say second component equals to parentheses. Here you go. Okay, and what was the second thing you need to remember? Very good, it always returns. Now I want to get to the next line. What should I put first?
Parentheses.
Parentheses, perfect. Now I want to have a parent. What am I?
Empty fragments.
Very good, empty fragments, perfect. And here we can have, let's say, again an H or maybe H2. Let's say this is going to say this is a second component. Save it. But now we have a problem. Can I see the second component? How can I see it? Where do we call it? Now we run into a problem. You can only render one thing. Okay, and we are already rendering greetings. You can either render greetings or you can either render second component. But I want to render both of them. I want to see both of them. And do remember that you can only render one thing. React always only renders one thing. No, we can't. We can, as I said, you can only render one time. So guess what can you do? We can do that. As I said, you can only render one component. Think like it's right in front of you. I want to see both of them. We can do that again. So what can we do? Look, which component is being rendered? At the moment, which component is being rendered? Greetings. Yeah, we want to render greetings as well as a second component. But as I said, you cannot render two components at the same time. Like it's at the moment it's rendering greetings. So if I were to change it into the second component, you would now see. No, as I said again, you can only render one thing. Okay. No, we can't do that. It's gonna throw an error. Okay. So what can we do? Now we come across a yeah. They act as a parent, but this render function only renders one thing. They can't render two things. Like you can't use empty fragments here and put greetings and as well as the second component. You can't do that. Okay, this doesn't allow it. It can happen here, but it can't happen here. Okay, so what can we do? Okay, so at the moment greeting is being rendered. Okay, so now we come across a concept in React that's called parent child. Okay, we have a relationship in React that's called parent and child. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this second component inside the greetings component. Okay, how do I do it? Here, how do I call components? How do I call the components? It was the third thing you need to remember. Sorry? No, no, no. Create root is only going to be created once. How do I call the components? In a form of tags. In a form of tags. So I'm going to say angular brackets, and then what is the name of our component? Second component. So now we have h1, then we have p, and then we have second component. And what does second component returns you? This is the second component. Here you go. So that's how you make different components and render it inside one another. And this is exactly what you guys are going to be doing. Let me show you again ChatGPT. So here we go. Where is the console? Here it is. Okay, who's the parent? CY. Inside the CY we have framer context, and then we have EB, PB, AK, data router, and then so on. Everything is being nested in one another. Can you see? So this is exactly what we did here. We nested second component inside the greetings. This thing is called component tree. We also would have this in our website. Let me show you. We have what? We have greeting component, and then inside the greeting component we have second component. This is called a component tree. Okay, so yeah, this was the concept of parent and child, how you can render two components or three components at a single time. Okay, so this is the basic concept. Now we are going to be moving towards the first project in React. Okay, and what are we going to make? We are going to make not Amazon, but something inside the Amazon. So this is what we are going to do. This thing. Yeah, this one. So this whole thing. Or maybe what I'm trying to see here is they changed it. Okay, anyways. So this is what we want to do. Okay, this is what we want to create. If we were to be doing HTML, how many cards are we going to make? If we were doing just HTML, how much coding do I need to do for each card? Like I need to do a code, I need to create code for each card. For example, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 8 into 16. So I had to write code 16 times the same code for each card, right? But React makes it easy. Okay, before doing it we need to understand how are we going to judge which thing is a component. There are two ways. There are not two ways, two rules. So first rule is, if something is enclosing a lot of things. Okay, if you see a parent div, you can call it one component. That is the first rule. If you see something that is a group, you can call it a component. And the second rule is, if something is being repeated again and again, that thing is a component. Okay, the two rules. First is, if you see a group, that is a component. Second rule, if something is being repeated continuously, that is a component. So in front of you, how many components are you seeing? How much? One? Okay, the first one. Yeah, I think I did heard the right answer from one of you guys. Two, exactly. We have only two components here. Let me show you how. So first thing, this is the ruler. I don't want the ruler. Yeah, this one. So first is all of this. All of this is a component. And then let me make it a bit thicker. Okay, and then this card is being repeated again and again. If you were to pay a little close attention to it, this thing is being repeated again and again. Like this is same for everything. Yes, look, so this is being repeated again and again. And what was the second rule? What was the second rule? If something is being repeated again and again, it's a component. Yeah, perfect. So how many components do we have? We have two components, and this is exactly what we are going to create. So let us start. I need you guys to take a really close look, because I'm going to remove all of it and do it again once more for the project we have selected. Shall I remove it? Should I remove it now? Okay. So let us start from the scratch. Okay. What is the first thing we need? What is the first thing we need? Very good. From React. What is the second thing we need? Very good. Import curly braces and then create rule. Okay, we are going to discuss why the curly braces and why not the curly braces. Okay, now let us create the main component. So I'm going to say const, let's call it book list. Make sure B is capital. And the second thing is we need to return it. If we want to get to the next line, what are we going to use?
अच्छा सर एक I have a question.
Yeah.
सर रिटर्न से पहले ही सिर्फ हम जावास्क्रिप्ट कर सकते हैं, बाद में नहीं कर सकते?
We can do it. We can do JavaScript after this return as well. But after this return, inside these curly braces, it's only HTML. Okay? You can do
सर
JavaScript.
सॉरी
You can do JavaScript after these curly braces, after the return statement. Okay? But as long as you are inside these curly braces, after the return statement, it's always HTML. Okay? As long as you are inside these curly braces. जब तक आप इन curly braces के अंदर हैं, ठीक है, तब तक रिटर्न से आगे HTML ही रहेगी. लेकिन आप अगर इन कर्ली ब्रेसेस से बाहर निकलते हैं तो यहाँ पर आप JS कर सकते हैं. ओके,
मतलब सर कंपोनेंट के अंदर हम जीएस नहीं कर सकते,
कंपोनेंट के अंदर JS कर सकते हैं, लेकिन रिटर्न से ऊपर ऊपर.
और रिटर्न के बाद हम कंपोनेंट के अंदर नहीं कर सकते?
No, you can't do that. No. Okay.
थैंक यू.
Okay. There is a way to do JS after the return statement. We are going to discuss it soon, inshallah. Okay. So now I want to get to the next line. What do I need to? Parentheses. Yeah, perfect. And now I want to have a parent.
Empty fragment.
Empty fragments, or what is the other name for it?
Div.
React fragments. Okay, this is one of the interview questions, so you need to remember these
Okay.
things.
React fragments.
Yeah, React fragments or empty fragments.
Okay.
So let's call it, this is a book list. Save it. Let's go back. I can't see it. Why can't I see it?
Because you have to call it.
How do I call it?
Render.
Yeah, render. And how do we render it? Create root. It's a function. And where do we want to render it?
body like a document.
Very good. Document dot query selector and hash root, because it was an ID. And then we're gonna say dot render. And what do we want to render? We want to render book list. So I'm gonna say
Book list.
book list. Perfect. Okay, this is our main component that we have discussed, one that is enclosing all of it. Now we need to make another component. So after the curly braces, I'm going to make another component. So let's call it const book. Is it okay?
No, it has to be capitalized.
Very good. It has to be capitalized. And then we return the next line, and then we need the parent. Perfect. Now what do you see inside the book? Like how many things do we have? How many properties do we have? We have a image. We have, let's skip this. Where's the title? I can't see the title. There is no title on the books. Okay, anyways. So
Like head
let's
and body.
we have an image. So I'm going
So
to
sir,
copy image. So I'll put image here, paste it, and after the image we have this something Kindle, or let's call it title. Although we don't have it, but let's say h2, and let's call it title. And after the title, let's put price. So I'm going to say p dollar, and let's say 14.33. I can't see it. Why can't I see it? Where do I want to render it? And how do I render it? Where do I render it? Like book is child of what? Very good, book list. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to go here and I can call book, and here you go. Here we have the book. And you know what's a great thing? We have created a component of book, right? Like we have a book, we have did the code of book, and now we can call it how many times we want, and it's going to be there for you. That's it. So this is why React is one of the greatest things that has happened in websites. Okay, this is just the beginning. You just make one thing, okay, and you can call it again and again. Okay, so now, although you might have questions like all of these are. What is the question that you might have? Exactly, all of them are same. This is the topic for the next class, because this is one of the, you can call it the backbone of React. It's that important. But for today, we are going to talk about the styling. Okay, so I want to style it exactly like this. So how do we do styling? CSS, yeah. So let's do CSS. So how are we going to do CSS? Inside the source, I'm going to create a new file. Let's call it styles.css. And what do I want to target? I want to target all of these books. Okay, so what is the class? What is the class I'm going to target? Well, can you see any class with the name of book? Can you see any? Can you see any class that is called book list? There is no class. We can't call any class. Okay, so we have to do what? I'm going to make a class. So you are going to see something different now. Instead of class, what is it saying? Class name. Why is that? Because currently we are in JSX, and JSX is JavaScript, like almost JavaScript. So class is a built-in keyword in JavaScript, like you cannot use it inside here. So that's why inside React you are always going to use what? Class name instead of class. Okay, so inside this div of class name I'm going to have all of these books. Let's give it a class of, let's say, my books. Okay, so I want to call this inside my style, so I'm going to say my books, and what I want to do is I want them to be in a single line. How do I do it? How do I make them go side by side? Display flex, perfect. But the only problem is this is not going to work. Give me the reason. Why isn't it working? Very good. We have to link it, because this is a different file and this one is different. But again we run into a problem. This is JavaScript. We cannot link it like we used to link it in HTML, because this is JavaScript. So how do we link things in JavaScript? In fact, we had did it, like it's right in front of you. How do I call a different file in a different file? Import. Perfect. So we are going to do what? We are going to do import. And what do we want to import? We want to import styles.css, and styles.css is inside the same folder. So how many dots am I going to put? One slash, and we're going to say styles dot css. Perfect. It's going to work. What happened here? Like even the title and the price has also been in gone in a row. Why is that? Because these things are different, like they are not part of the group. Why are they not part of the group? Because they are not inside a div. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to create a div book and put it inside here, so we would have this. But we still have a problem. And what is the problem? My body is overflowing. So what can we do? There's a very special class in flex. We can say flex wrap. What does wrap means? Like it basically going to wrap your books. If whatever screen size you have is going to display the books in that screen size, and if you reach the end of that screen, it's going to make it go to the next row. So we're going to say flex wrap, and here you go. Now we want to have space between them, so I'm going to say gap 1, and perfect. Here you have your book list. And if we want to have more books, what can we do? We can simply call book again, and we will have more books. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Now one last thing. Instead of flex, I want to use grid. Do you guys remember grid? Yeah. Okay, like it's 50-50, yeah. So I'm gonna say display grid. So grid is not going to do anything by itself. We need to specify columns. So what are we going to say? We're going to say grid dash template columns, and then we're going to say repeat. Like I want you to repeat the columns. How many times? I'm going to say 7 times. And how much width each column should have? I'm going to say 1 fr. What does fr stands for? Fr stands for fractional unit. That means that whatever width is available, give it to each child, and that's it. Here you go. Okay, if we want to have more columns, we can simply say, let's say 8 or 9, or however many columns you want to have. Here you go. Okay, if you want to have gap, you can put gap as well. So yeah, that would be it for today. This is your homework, and you have to do it, because I'm taking it really slow, because this is the core of the this course. If you get this thing, you don't need to have any other thing to learn. This is the main thing. Okay, this React. So yeah, that is it. Yeah, is there a question? Okay, yeah, so that would be it. So this is your homework as well. Make sure to do it, and yeah, thank you. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.